morning show. We're live 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Doing free picks. No excuses, just free picks. Had no NHL last night, just the NBA. Interesting game. The Celtics pulled out to a big lead. The Warriors reeled them all the way in, got to the lead. The Celtics fended them off, decided to play some cheap, dirty basketball there. But I guess whatever it takes. Just seemed, I don't know, just the way it is. Chris, what did you think of last night's ball game?
Yeah, it was getting my hopes up a little bit, getting the Warriors all the way back. But then, like you said, some I don't want to say questionable, but some cheap, dirty basketball. I think is probably the best way to put it. And there was some, I think, refereeing edges towards Boston those last 5 minutes, but
ridiculous.
It was, and that I think really decided the game. Sort of slammed the door shut on the Golden State Warriors at that point. And
Steph Curry playing the bulk of the game with 4 fouls.
Yeah, it was wasn't good. And then I think that the icing on the cake was sort of that scrum that happened late in the fourth quarter, and all of a sudden Marcus Smart's reaching around a guy's back to try to get the steal, and nothing gets called. So we'll have to see if maybe that changes for game 4. But oh boy, yeah, it wasn't great last night. Well, if you were a Warriors better like me.
Brian, what did you think of the game?
I was just really disappointed in how many total points that were scored. Everybody knows I like the under. Just the fourth quarter went very low scoring fourth quarter, but just tons of points given up by the Golden State Warriors, and tons. 116 seems like a lot. I think you'll see a lot better defensive effort in Game 4, and the refs got to, I think NBA would love this series to go 7, and Boston needs to win these home games, and usually the home team gets the calls. So,
well, if Steph Curry's not back, it ain't going 7. It's pretty much over. I mean, the refs, the NBA could want whatever they want, but if you have an NBA Finals with the Warriors in it with no Steph Curry, you're not going to get what you want. And I think that's what they let happen last night in that game. It's like, and Steph Curry's on his back on the floor, screaming in pain. You got problems, for not just for the Warriors, but for the NBA in general. It's like,
Warriors are a deep team, though. I know it's Curry, but we've seen
the best player in,
we've seen guys step up, and
it's Steph Curry. They played him with 4 fouls in the game. The bulk of the game. It's like he's, normally a guy gets 4 fouls. It's like you got to take him to the bench or whatever. It's like the Warriors. The reason why you leave him in there is because you can't afford to not have him on the floor. And it was like, the announcer even said, can you afford to have him on the floor with 4 fouls? And they're like, obviously you can't afford not to have him on the floor. So, I think that's part of it. Sammy. Anyways, that's my dog, Sam. He's recovering from his surgery. He's not taking to it too well. My wife has abandoned him going into the other room. So he's more sulking than in pain. But, of course, we wish Sam a speedy recovery. He's got a long road ahead of him. He had bone fragments in both of his front legs. It's because he's like a barrel of, he's not like one of those spastic, all over the place dogs, but he's super dialed in and focused. He's a retriever, so it's like you throw the frisbee, it's like he's gonna, he doesn't go out at half speed. He's just, he goes in at 110%, and he throws every caution to the wind. And when you do it like that, broke both of his front legs and continued to run like that. So that's how tough that dog is. He had bone fragments in there, and they were like stuck in his, causing like joint issues. It's like craziness. But anyways, you can hear him more begging for attention than anything else over there. He's under severe medication. He is a major suck-up, and we all know that. Anyways, speaking of major suck-ups, we go to we go to Major League Baseball today. See, Ruffalo, I didn't say it.
I was waiting for speaking of begging for attention or speaking of major suck up, and boom, right into that.
But yeah, we've got the Reds and the Diamondbacks getting things off early. Rain in Cincinnati. That game was delayed last night. They got it in, and the Reds probably wish they didn't. You got the Rays against the Cardinals and the White Sox against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm looking at the over 10 between the Diamondbacks and the Reds. Tyler Mahle, just not a pitcher I'm looking at back, even though he's had some solid starts here and there. It's still, we've always seen from Mahle in the past that Great American Ballpark is where he struggles, and I think that's going to be no different today. So I like the over 10. I lean towards Arizona in that game as well. I'm starting to maybe become a bit of a Zach Davies believer. And I'm going to go with the Dodgers and White Sox under 8.5. I think that's just a great pitching matchup. Tyler Anderson and Dylan Cease. I don't expect there to be a ton of runs on the board in that game, so it could be the under 8.5 in that game.
Brian?
This is a tough card in general, and then at the top is not an easy one. I'm going to go with the over 10 in the Reds and Diamondbacks here. I know Zach Davies is off of 7 innings, I think shutout baseball, but that's not the Zach Davies I know. Zach Davies I know gives up a bunch of runs, and the Reds got shut out yesterday. So I think the bats wake up today, Reds get some runs, and Diamondbacks are definitely going to get their share of runs off of Mail, who's not the best pitcher for the Reds, but this line definitely looks tricky. So for me, I'm going to back Cincinnati on the money line. I think they bounce back, and I'm going to take the over 10. I think we see a ton of runs, close to 14, 15.
Yeah, it's the White Sox to me were disappointing yesterday. I thought that Johnny Cueto would pitch a lot better than that, and we know that the first ballot Hall of Famer, the expectations are going to be higher, than what he delivered. They fell behind early, gave up the early home run, and that was part of the issue there. They never were able. They clawed their way kind of back, but never really got all the way back there. But I think with Dylan Cease here, I think they got a better chance. Tyler Anderson actually has been striking out a lot of batters, but he's still Tyler Anderson at the end of the day, And then we've got Miles Miklos is a big dog here in Tampa Bay. He looked good for most of his first early starts, and then his last few games he's really tailed off. I don't know if McClanahan's minus 180 guy. So like Brian said, this card, it's not just that the games are difficult to pick. It's just that the odds make them even tougher, because it's like, yeah, I like the Rays here, but I don't like laying 180, with McClanahan, and I don't necessarily love laying the run line in the Cardinals-Rays game. We're fairly competitive teams, 2 playoff teams, right? Then you have Zach Davies at plus 120 against Tyler Mahle. The Diamondbacks dominated that game against the Reds. The Reds had that early home run that got taken away by a really sharp defensive play in that game. And after that, it was all Diamondbacks. And, we saw Merrill Kelly respond to that play, and pitch kind of like how we saw Kelly pitch earlier this season. But we've seen good and bad from Zach Davies. We know Zach, right? We've seen him around. He's not going to show us anything we haven't seen before. And we know that this guy's capable of going, 6-7 innings of 1-run baseball. He's also capable of going 1 inning of 7-run baseball. So it's, what are we going to see from him? I think that total at 10, I think you got to go with the over, double digit. You got a Coors Field total here. So it's like, I'm going to go with the over. Anyways, Brian, what are you selling today?
Well, my free picks were excellent, but my premium picks, which are the most important, were crappy yesterday. I'm going to bounce back. I got my tantalizing Thursday 3-pack. It includes my 3 best bets, all in Major League Baseball. You can get my best Major League Baseball bet for $15, or my 3-pack, all 3 plays for $50 at pickdogs.com. Premium picks.
Chris?
Yeah, and for me, I'm looking for a bounce back myself. A rough Wednesday, but we're going to get over that hump. Today I got my pick off play, my $15 play. And I also have that play as part of my MLB triple play as well for $39.95 over at Pick Dogs Premium. Longer term subscribers also get the hockey in there as well.
Yeah, I just have my $15 big play today. I really don't like today's card. I struggled even to get that play out, and now that I have it out there, I actually do really like it. But I just think that this is one of the tougher cards of the year. Maybe I'll be able to add another play later, but that would happen by the end of the show. So I just don't see anything popping up the page that says I gotta be on this today, especially looking at tomorrow's games already. I already see a bunch more games that I actually really like tomorrow. So I might just save my money and bet my one big play and then bet some hockey. Yeah, I'll buy Ron's rundown. I don't know what the hell he has, but drop $15 on that thing.
Ron's a superstar. He barely talks to me anymore.
Yeah, it's like
good for his.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I heard that you put an orange M&M in his in the green room for him. So it's like, wait, what is this?
I texted him the other night, was busting his balls, and he got a little bit. It wasn't the typical Ron response. So I don't know. Something's up with Ron.
I'm a diva.
He's a diva.
He
doesn't like his balls busted now. He's too good.
I think what happened is with Romanelli, like everybody else, it's like, he was hot for a long time. And, when you cap every single day, you're not going to win every single day. And I think sometimes, and it's just the nature of the beast, you might win, you might go, you might hit 60% of your bets, but it doesn't mean you go 6-4 every time. You might hit 12 in a row and then lose, 5-6 in a row. And I think, Romanelli and me, we both had days like that in a row. We lost like maybe 3 days in a row. And it's just, I don't care who you are, wears on you, Nobody likes to sit there and lose. I know Rod's really good at it. When he goes into a losing streak, you'd hardly know it.
Throwing him under the bus.
Right. It's like, you poke him up. It's like, he's lost a couple games, just kind of like, he's like, wah! Just kill you. Oh. Anyways, but yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna tread lightly today. I like my big play. I won yesterday on my big play. I had lost 3 in a row. 2 of them were 9th inning miracle comeback losses. The worst of the worst way to lose. And I would say, of all of my losses on my $15 big play over the last 3 weeks to month, I would say 80 to 90% of those have been 9th inning losses. I've been Melanson a couple times in there. I lost 2 of the last 3 that I lost. Hader gave up 2 home runs to lose. I lost that Seattle game in Seattle-Houston game where Houston was up 5-2 in the 9th inning, gave up 3 runs, and then Wild pitched in the winning run. Yeah, that hurt. It's like 5-2 in the 9th inning. You pretty much circle it as a win, You pretty much circle it.
Now I'm nervous until the last out.
Not me. If I'm up by 2 runs, I circle it as a win. If I'm down by 2 runs, I like where I'm sitting.
If I got to lead the ninth and Gators coming in, I would be pretty confident.
I could be down by 6. I could be down by 6 and be like still feel I have a chance. While the other way is I saw a funny meme the other day, really funny one. It was like, it was a golf one. And it was a guy who's like, can't hit the green the size of Texas, and then also me, and it shows like behind all these trees and stuff. It's like, I think I have a gap here. I think I see a gap. It's like, but yeah, it's always when even winning yesterday. Breaking my little skid that I had, it's still, still don't feel good because of those losses that I had. But anyways, we are on a new winning streak today. Go to our next set of games, and it is the Brewers and the Phillies. Man, Phillies took out the ugly stick and beat down the Brewers yesterday with Nola. Got the Giants and the Rockies. Gomber on the mound. And we've got the Marlins up against the Washington Nationals. It's a Steven Strasburg sighting. He is so he's pitched 27 innings since signing that deal. I know everyone loves that. Everyone knows I love to talk about the contracts. Let's talk about the Strasburg contract real quick.
Make fun of Bryce Harper and his contract.
Let's talk about the Strasburg contract. Okay, 7 years. He only makes, though, Brian, out of the 7 years,
$240 million, right?
245. Guaranteed money. Okay, so whether he plays, doesn't play, puts on 10,000 pounds,
How much
whatever.
Is that per year?
Well, it's 30. It'd be 35 million a year.
Who would you rather have, Harper or Strasburg?
Well, it depends. When the chips are on the table, when you're going to compete for a World Series, when you're competing for a World Series on the biggest stage, Bryce. Steven Strasburg performed. He was the World Series MVP. And on the biggest stage, Bryce Harper has fallen flat on his face. So if you want to win a World Series and you're willing to pay $245 million for that, well, then I'd rather have Strasburg. If you'd rather have some guy that's a hot dog, not a team player, who everybody hates and is just looks like an overall jerk, then I would take Bryce Harper. That's a jerk.
It's easy for me to be an armchair quarterback and say that they wasted their money with Strasburg, but,
They have a World Series. They won the World Series.
As we sit right now, I'd rather have Harper on that contract than Strasburg. I mean, they're strapped now.
Bryce Harper is going to come out. Bryce Harper is a cancer. He's never been on a good team because of him. He's terrible, man. What's that? That's a clown question, jerk. It's like you're a clown ball player. I mean, when he won that home run hitting competition, they watered down the field. Like, who were the participants the year he won the home run derby? It was like me and Ruffalo and Zawacki. It really was. It was like us three, and seriously, it was like us three with Greg Maddux pitching, and Bryce Harper is against Bryce Harper and his father pitching. That's really what that field was like. I mean, that's all he's ever done. I'm not saying he's a terrible athlete or terrible ball player, but he's terrible for your team because the teams he plays on do not win.
I'm trying to see the field for that home run derby.
Oh yeah, it was the most watered down home run derby field ever. It's like it was.
Okay, so this is what it was. It was
Brittler.
Sorry.
Who was it? Three shortstops or something?
I mean, it wasn't actually a bad field, but it was just he won each matchup by 1 run. So it was Aguilar, Hoskins, Alex Bregman, Kyle Schwarber, Max Muncy, Javier Baez, and Freddie Freeman.
Who were they supposed to have?
Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton. The guys that make this, the guys that are also making $35 million a year.
They wouldn't do the home run contest.
They did. The two best home run hitting contests ever were Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa, right, at Wrigley, and then there was at Miami, it was Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge. I mean, that was like the tape measure home run derbies. Who was in that one, Ruffalo? The Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge home run derby. That was the epic.
Oh, look.
Bryce Harper, was he in that one?
Stanton, another contract. Wasting money. Yankees.
Are you talking about the year that Stanton won the derby, or was it recent? I'm trying to figure out if it was the recent, the 2021 derby, or before that.
The year that Stanton and Judge hit all those home runs in Miami.
Yeah.
It was the last year that Judge was in the home run derby.
Yeah, okay, 2017. Okay.
It was epic.
I will say sidebar story, not like the Canadian Baseball League home run derby where no one hit a home run. I will always remember that. They had a home run derby where no one hit a home run.
I'll tell you, there used to be a show on TV called Home Run Derby, and it had all the best players were in it.
All right, so this was the Stanton year. It was Stanton, Gary Sanchez, Mike Moustakas, Miguel Sano, Cody Bellinger, Charlie Blackmon, Aaron Judge, and Justin Bohr.
There you go.
That's a pretty weak lineup other than Judge.
How many home runs were hit in that derby compared to the Bryce Harper one?
Yeah, the Bryce Harper one had a lot of teens, but I will say this: outside of that first round, the semifinals, the highest score of the three matchups from the semifinals and the final, 13 home runs from Aaron Judge.
They were all tape measure jobs.
But Judge had 23 home runs in the first round.
Anyways, speaking of Bryce Harper, we got Brewers, Phillies. We've got Giants, Rockies, and Marlins, Nationals, Strasburg, Bryce Harper, all in the same frame here, Brian.
Well, after yesterday's dominant performance from your favorite pitcher, Aaron Nola, I think Zach Eflin, Burns, I think this is a Brewers 1-run win here. So either you're going to lay minus 175 with the Brewers, or for me, I'm going to take the Phillies plus the 1.5. I think it's around minus 150 or so. I think Eflin, he's a hit or miss guy. Last time out, he was a hit. I think the Phillies are playing good baseball. I think this one stays within 1 run, and then Washington and the Marlins. Yurfie, yes, runs in the first inning, your favorite thing. I could see that happening for sure in the Nationals Marlins between these two pitchers. And I like the over 8.5. I think Trevor Rogers gives up his share of runs, and I think Strasburg, he's had good rehab numbers, but he doesn't pitch more than
terrible.
No, 1.88 and 3 rehab appearances for Strasburg.
It's been terrible.
Did you say Strasburg's been terrible?
Terrible.
I looked up his rehab numbers. His ERA is 1.88, but he doesn't go more than he averages about 4.2 innings in all 3 rehab starts. So I think it'll be a bullpen after the 5th inning for the Nationals. I think we see a lot of runs. I'll take the over.
Chris?
Yeah, for me, that Phillies game, Brian said Zach Eflin's been a hit or miss. He's been hit at home, but miss on the road, an 8.10 ERA away from home this season. But Corbin Burns struggled in his last couple home starts as well. I like the over 7.5 there. I like the San Francisco Giants on the run line. There's no starter announced. If the rotation pattern continues, it could be Logan Webb that gets the start here. He would be on regular rest, but that's a play for me just based on fading Austin Gomber, who's been absolutely terrible in his last couple starts. And I like the over in that Washington-Miami game as well. Dave Martinez said that there was going to be no limitation on Strasburg, but even when Strasburg leaves, he hands the ball over to a bullpen that has an 8+ ERA their last 10, an ERA just under 8 in their last 5, and Trevor Rogers, well, we all know how Trevor Rogers has done this season. He's been giving up runs left and right, so I like the over 8 runs in that game.
I agree with you guys. I think the Nationals are, as a team, probably looking ahead to tomorrow's game when Eric Fede starts. Gives them something to be excited about. And then, Burns, release the hounds, Smithers. Up here against the Phillies. I think that's what happens in that one. Austin Gomber on the road. Nothing pretty about that. Minus 270 on the Giants, though. Yuck. Like I said, a miserable card and a miserable day. It's like, I like the Brewers. I can't lay the run line. It's like, Strasburg, Rogers, good luck. And minus 270 on the Giants. I think I'd rather take a nap. Go to...
Josiah Gray's looked better. Where we were busting on him, but I think he's had 2 good starts.
Well, speaking of Josiah Gray, Connor Pilkington gets the ball.
I can't pronounce his name. Pilkington.
Up against James Caprillion for Oakland. You've got Max Fried for the Braves up against JT Brubaker for the Pirates. Man, that Braves just killed me yesterday. I had the A's in that thing. And then Dylan King Kong Bundy up on the mound against Jarrett Cole. So we got $70 million worth of pitchers going in 2 separate games here. Cole and Strasburg both going in the same day. What do you think of these 3, Ruffalo?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the the Braves minus 2.5 here. I'm not a JT Brubaker guy. I know he's pitched better on the road than he has at home. And Fried, same thing. He pitches better on the road, but the Braves just swinging a hot bat right now. And while the Pirates have played well and stepped up in spots, I just think that Brubaker is more of a hindrance than he is a help. So I'm going to go with the Braves minus 2.5 in that one. I'm going to go with the Minnesota Twins on the money line. I think Dylan Bundy's as much as I hate backing Dylan Bundy, and he's been a moneymaker for me by fading him in the past. He's been rock solid at home. All the struggles recently have come on the road pretty much, and the New York Yankees. And I'm not impressed with Garrett Cole. Maybe that's just me, but you know, we've seen a lot of close games pitched by Cole as of late, and give me the Minnesota Twins on the money line there.
Brian?
Yeah, I'm gonna relinquish my Dylan Bundy fan club membership to president to Ruflo there, because I'm gonna take Garrett Cole and the Yankees at -2.5 here, +126. Bundy, he just doesn't do it for me. I could see the Yankees hot bats getting to him, and Cole's pretty solid, 2.78 ERA, 0.98 WHIP. You can see him going 7-8 strong today. Braves
what did Bundy
and Pirates.
do to you? He's celebrating the 1 month and 5 day anniversary of that.
I was hot.
11 hit, 9 run outing against the Orioles.
At the beginning of the year, I was really hot on Bundy. I was like, well, he got to change his scenery. There's less focus on him. He's pitching well. And I think it was 3 games he pitched well. And then after that, the wheels kind of fell off. But I just like the Yankees here on the -2.5. That's my thing, taking the Yankees on the run lines. The Braves, that line just looks super high, like they don't want you on Atlanta. So I'll take the -2.5 with the Braves. I think the hot bats continue. I used to be a Brubaker guy. He's another guy I'm kind of getting soured to. I'll lay the 2.5 with the Braves as well. Nothing big, though. These are just leans.
Did I mention I hate today's card? It's even tough to fade Cole, is how tough today's card is. I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to go with King Kong Bundy up against Cole. And, I got to go with the A's here against the Guardians. They've won 8 in a row in Cleveland. So I'm going to roll with the A's here against the Guardians in that spot. And as far as Brubaker and Fried, they could not play the game. I wouldn't even notice. Anyways, we move to the next set of games, and we've got the Royals and the Orioles, another gem, and the Angels against the Red Sox. Brian, what do you think?
It's a tough one, but I think out of these 2 games, I'm going to take the LA Angels. I think you had mentioned it before. They're going to win a game. I think tonight's the night with Ohtani on the mound, and I think he's due for a nice, solid start, and I could see him smacking one out as well. Pavetta's been pitching well above his stat line lately. Not the Pavetta I know. So I'm going to take the Angels here. The line's not bad at -125.
Yeah, for me, I'm taking the over 9.5 in that Orioles and Royals matchup. One good start from Chris Bubik doesn't fool me. I think that, I think he's bound to regress at some point. But speaking of regression, Bruce Zimmerman, once one of the most profitable pitchers in baseball to start the year, now he's really stumbled. 20 runs allowed in his last 4 starts, an ERA over 9 over that stretch. So
He's
I think
been
we can
bumped.
get
I got Lyles listed.
Lyles.
Oh, has
They
it
got
been
rained
Lyles?
out yesterday.
Oh, okay.
You can't skip Lyles' turn in the rotation. Brian
he's
would
one of my guys.
throw a
You can't
fit.
skip him.
He'd throw a fit.
I'd be upset.
Brian
So then,
would
yeah,
pitch a temper tantrum.
So then if it's Lyles, yeah, I gotta go with Baltimore. I think in that one, like I said, I think Chris Bubik's bound to regress. So I was still seeing Zimmerman, but yeah, now that I refreshed, it's I see Jordan Lyles, and I like Baltimore in that spot.
All right. Bubich. And Brian, did you go in this one?
Yep, I gave out the Angels.
All right. Yeah, I like the over in the Orioles, and I like Angels -2.5. We move to the NHL. Lightning and the Rangers missed this one earlier in the show. Normally we do hockey first. I don't know. I slept through it. Chris, what do you think?
I think for me, I got to stick with the New York Rangers here. That trend of home ice in the playoffs for these 2 teams, especially the New York Rangers. 15-3, the home team is in New York's 18 playoff games so far. I mean, just as much as a lot of people may say the Lightning have all of the momentum in the series after winning both games in Tampa Bay, they got to show me they can take one in MSG. They're going to have to if they want to win this series. But I just think that New York feeds off that energy at Madison Square Garden, and I think the Rangers retake the lead in the series. So I'm taking the Rangers at plus money.
As much as I
Right.
love betting against, as much as I love betting against the Tampa Bay Lightning, I think for me the stronger play is the under in this one. Now instead of taking the under 5.5, which you're laying about minus 140 juice, I'm going to take the under 5 here. I just see a really big goaltender showdown in this one. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a 2-1 final in overtime. So I'll take the under 5. I might push on it, but I'd rather push than lay that kind of juice for the 5.5.
I like the Rangers. They won 8 in a row at home. No reason to believe that to get off of them here. I wouldn't lay them. I wouldn't do the -1 like Brian likes to bet. I would just stick with the Rangers in this one. Let's do a parlays.
For me, in my parlay, I'm going to take the Rangers and Tampa Bay under 5. I'm going to team it up with my Philadelphia Phillies plus 1.5 and the LA Angels on the money line.
I'm going to take the San Francisco Giants -2.5, the Atlanta Braves -2.5, and the New York Rangers on the money line.
Rangers on the money line for me, up with the Oakland A's and the Minnesota Twins. This is Mitch. Thanks for joining us. Make it a winning day. We appreciate